The following is a live special presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. And well, we have reached the end of the line for the American League season for 1985. We can go no further than the most improbable Game 7 in Major League Baseball history. My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for this 27th day of September 2022. The Dodgers have forced a Game 7. If you were with us earlier at noontime today, that series resolves tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. John Tudor against Bob Welch, I think, in Los Angeles. But this series comes down to one more night. And who's going to win? I don't know. The Blue Jays steamrolled through the first three games. They've in fact scored 12 runs in Game 1. They had not only the Angels on the ropes, they went with Dave Steeb in Game 4, and then the last three games, the Blue Jays have been held to 6 runs. Not only are the California Angels the first team in Major League Baseball history to be down 3-0 and force a 7th and deciding game, they are looking to be the first team in any of the playoff sports that go to a best-of-7 to win a Game 7 since the New York Islanders did it in a round of the playoffs in the Stanley Cup playoffs in 1975. And in fact, the Islanders won 8 straight elimination games. They finally were beaten by the Philadelphia Flyers in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup semi, but that's the last time it was done. In the NBA, there's only been one time at this point that a team down 3-0 came back to force a Game 7, and they lost. That was the New York Knicks sometime in the 1950s in the finals. The NHL is the only league to have it done, and ironically enough, it was the Toronto Maple Leafs who did it first in 1942, down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals and beat the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings nearly pulled off the same thing in 1945. They were down 3-0 and forced a decisive Game 7 before the Maple Leafs won the Cup just up the road a bit at what's now a Loblaws at the old Maple Leafs Gardens. The only time in baseball history that this has happened before tonight was a 1958 Japanese series. The Nishitu Lions came back from 3 down to beat the Yomiuri Tokyo Giants. So we're in uncharted territory here. I have no idea what the heck is going to happen between now and about 10 after 9 tonight. I'm kind of hoping we have a close game because none of these 6 games have been considered classic. But that's not for here nor there. It's time. The Blue Jays and the Angels. Dave Steeb on 3 days rest. Can he throw strikes? He's thrown 10 walks in 14 1/3 innings in this series. If he can keep control, the Blue Jays are in good shape. Mike Witt is on full rest for the Angels, although the leashes are going to be shorter than a puppy at obedience school. I think that's enough of a setup for you. Are you ready? It's time. Let's play some baseball, shall we? As Retro Sports Network proudly presents the 1985 American League Championship Series. Tonight, the shooting match, the rubber game, the 2 best words in North American sports, Game 7 between the California Angels and Toronto Blue Jays, live from Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, Ontario. And tonight's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn sports podcast on the web for your sports and simulation replay needs. Boy, did I botch that one up. Find us today on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or wherever else fine podcasts are listed. It is 61 degrees here in Toronto. There is no threat of bad weather. The wind is blowing out to left at 4, so it really is just a cool and dour night here in Toronto, and that kind of matches what the crowd is going to be. Cold and dour. Dave Steeb is 28 years old. He went 22-8 on the replay season. He is the American League Cy Young Award winner. He throws the fastball at 90 and is a ground ball pitcher. In his Game 4 loss in California, he went 6 1/3. He threw 129 pitches, 5 hits, 5 runs, all earned. He's walked 5 and struck out 6. Steeb is not going to get that much rope tonight. He will go out as soon as he starts to struggle. 14 1/3 innings in the series, 9 hits, 6 runs, all earned. Like I said, walked 10, struck out 14, an earned run average of 377. In his Game 1 win, he still walked 5, but went 8 innings. Angels line up like this. Gary Pettis, who has struggled, will lead off in center field. If he gets on, he is such a threat to run. Rod Carew, if they lose tonight, that's his career. Angels win the pennant. Carew goes to the World Series. Brian Downing has been a mixed bag in this series. He will bat third in left field. Reggie Jackson, the straw that stirs the drink, the hot dog with the mustard, is the DH tonight. Remember, the winner of this game will host Game 1 of the World Series, but there is no DH. Jackson gets the call tonight, cleaning up. Doug DeCinces has not had a great LCS. He is at third. He'll bat fifth. Bobby Grich will bat sixth at second base. Juan Beniquez going against the platoon, righty versus righty, but he's hitting .333 on this ALCS. Yeah, that's who you want in right field. They do have Rupert Jones if they need to make a defensive replacement late. Dick Schofield has had a terrible ALCS. He gets the call again. He is a good defensive shortstop. Bob Boone behind the plate was thrown out of Game 1. It was his infield single late in Game 4 that might be the turning point of the series. Imagine that. The ancient catcher Boone beating out a hit. And Mike Witt, as we said, on full rest, trying to pitch the Angels to their first ever World Series. They were close in 79. They lost in 4 games to Baltimore. We did 82 on the real year. They blew a 2-0 lead to Milwaukee, losing all 3 games to Milwaukee. They could not get past Baltimore in pretty much the same situation in that replay. So Brad says, as luck would have it, 4 others didn't show up for game night, so he canceled it. So it's time for this game to happen. Gary Pettis steps in at 174, 4 for 23. But he does have 2 stolen bases and the 5 times that he has reached base. Time for a real game. Well, I hope we get a good game. As I said, all 6 of these games have been one-sided affairs. Steeb starts Game 7, strike 3. He got the swing and miss on a hard fastball. So that'll bring up Rod Carew. How do you do? This has got to be bittersweet for Rod. The end of the line is when they lose. He is 8 for 21 on this ALCS, hitting .381 with 2 RBI. And has walked 5 times. Steeb winds and deals. Ground ball to Upshaw. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 out. Bell, as we set the Blue Jay defense, a 5 and a 5 in left. Mosby, a 5 and a 4 in center. Barfield, an 8 and a 10 in right. Garth Org, the better hitter, he's hitting .333 on this ALCS, is a 3 at third. There's no real defensive advantage for either Org or Mullenix. Fernandez is an 8 at second, short rather. Garcia a 4 at second. Upshaw a 6 at first. Witt a 6 and a 3 behind the plate. Steeb is a 7 on the mound with a .946 fielding percentage. Brian Downing at 286 in this ALCS. He is 6 for 21. He has 7 RBI, which is what you want from the number 3 hitter. He has 1 double. Steeb's pitch, chopper to first. Upshaw underhands it to Steeb, and the Angels go quietly in the first. No runs, no hits, no errors. Half an inning in the books. It is California nothing. Here come the Jays. Mike Witt, who won 18 games on the replay, gets the call here in Game 7. He is on full rest. 25 years old. A fastball tops out at 92, and a ground ball pitcher. In Game 3, the Jays torched him. 6 in the third innings, 129 pitches, 5 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 6 and struck out 4. So he has an ERA of 5.68. The story here, of course, on mind, any series that makes it to 7 is a good one, is that the Angels, who looked so dead the first 3 games, said in the open, they've held the Blue Jays to 6 runs. The last 3 games, Toronto has beaten all these pitchers. Don't underestimate what McCaskill did in Game 4. Finally, we're going to get the chance to use one of these championship slides. Anyway, Jay's lineup is this. It's the same as it's been all week. How you doing, midlife crisis? Damaso Garcia leads off at second. Lloyd Mosby in center will bat second. George Bell, who needs a big night tonight, and left will go third. Willie Upshaw, who is maybe the Blue Jays' best hitter in the series, cleans up at first. Jesse Barfield needs to get it going. He is in right field. He will bat fifth. Ernie Witt going sixth behind the plate. He homered twice in the first 2 games here in Toronto. Again, they're going to go with Garth Org at third. He will play bat seventh. Al Oliver, just like Rod Carew, when the Blue Jay season ends, it's curtains for Al Oliver. And remember, no DH in the World Series. He's batting 8th. Tony Fernandez will bat 9th at short. And Dave Steeb, who pitched a 1-2-3 first, on the mound. Defensively for California, Downing is 7-3 in left. Pettis a 9-9 in center. Beniquez a 3 range. Jones is the better fielder, but Beniquez has a cannon of an arm with a 9. And has hit quite well in this ALCS. DeCinces a 5 at third. Schofield, he's a defensive player. He's a 7 at short. Gritch an 8 at second. Carew a 4 at first. Boone a 6 and an 8 behind the plate. And Witt a 7 on the mound with a .961 fielding percentage. Garcia has done his job. He is 9 for 26, hitting .346 in this ALCS. He has 2 doubles and 4 RBI. Witt starts his night with a ground ball up the middle. Schofield in the dirt, throws to Carew, 1 out. In John's midlife crisis 81 replay, the Dodgers beat the Rangers in the World Series after being down 0-3. Only time that's happened to you in all your years of playing cards and dice or PC. I've never had this happen before. Never had this happen before. I honestly thought the Blue Jays were just going to steamroll in Game 4. Here's Mosby. Lloyd is hitting .375. 9 for 24. He has doubled 3 times, tripled once, and driven in 5. Witt deals. Mosby up the middle. Second verse for Schofield, same as the first, 2 out. So here's George Bell. He is 5 for 23, but 4 of those 5 hits are extra bases. 2 homers, 2 doubles, and he's driven in 7. Now, how did the Rangers make the World Series in 81? Did you do the split for that, or straight out standings, or Braves for life? How are you? Witt winds and deals, and Bell has a base hit in the left center field. So the Blue Jays put on the first runner. Schofield should have had that, and that'll bring up Willie Upshaw, who is hitting .438, 7 for 16. He has doubled, tripled, and homered, driving in 3. Better yet for Toronto, he has walked 6 times. So 2 out, runner on first. Rangers had great starting pitching. Fergie Jenkins, Matlack still there? Pitch to Upshaw. Willie strikes out. So Witt got him looking on the inside part of the plate. Blue Jays leave a runner on after 1, no score. So Reggie, DeCinces, and Grich to face Steeb here in the second. Reggie hitting .300, 6 for 20, with a double and an RBI. He has walked 5 times and scored 5 times, including twice last night. Steeb starts the second. Struck him out. That's 2 for Steeb. A 1-2 fastball. No affair is just one-sided. Danny Darwin, that's right. The Red Sox got stuck with that. And Ron was wrong about the series being games being a one-sided affair. It really feels like we played 2 different series so far. The Blue Jays the first 3, and then the Angels the next 3. So 1 out for DeCinces, .217, a homer, and 3 RBI. 5 for 23 in this ALCS. Steeb winds and deals into shallow right center. Mosby rides the Schwinn, makes the catch, 2 out. So here's Bobby Grich. Bobby 5 for 22, .227, but a homer and 3 RBI. The Angels only won 90 games on the replay. The Blue Jays 99. So a 9-game difference between the teams over the course of the regular season. Pitch to Grich, fouled back behind the plate, and he'll hang on with a 1-2 count. Line drive, Upshaw is there, and it's 6 up, 6 down. Well, Steeb can't do any better than that. No runs, no hits, and no errors. We go to the bottom of the second of Game 7, no score. So, the Blue Jays got a hit from George Bell his first time up. They need something from Jesse Barfield, who was 4 for 23, hitting .174 with an RBI. Witt starts the second, and Barfield strikes out. He foul-tipped a curve in the glove of Bob Boone, 1 out. So here's Ernie Witt. Those 2 homers, as we talked about, came here in games 1 and 2. .217 overall, 5 for 23. He has scored 4 times. Witt winds and deals. Struck him out. He got him to look at a 2-2 curve. And that'll bring up Org. Gar 3 for 9 on the series. Home run, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored. Rangers in 81 only finished 5 games back overall. But with the split season, it was Billy Ball's Oakland A's and the Kansas City Royals. Witt's delivery, or ground ball to first. Carew makes the play by himself, and that will retire the side. 2 innings in the books, no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the third, no score. So Beniquez, Schofield, and Boone. One is 6 for 18 in the series. A double and 3 RBI. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling the pressure tonight, guys. Steeb starts the third with a ground ball, base hit left side. Bell will throw it back in, and that's the first hit for the Angels. So here's Schofield. Jays play for the bunt. Schofield is 2 for 17. He does have an RBI. Upshaw and Org play for the bunt. The Blue Jays would love to turn 2 here. Steeb's pitch. Fly ball right field. Barfield makes the catch. So 1 out, and Benitez goes back to first. The Rangers in 81 finished third in batting average and an earned run average. Huh! I did not know that. Here is Bob Boone. Bob is hitting .300 in this ALCS, 6 for 20, a double, and 3 RBI. And now the Jays would love to turn 2. Steeb thrown a lot of pitches, but it really doesn't matter tonight. You go really until you can't or you shouldn't. Pitch to Boone. He walked him, and that's what the Blue Jays cannot do. So Benitez on second, Boone on first, 1 out for Pettis, who struck out his first time up. Steeb is opening 9. They worked him hard, 43 pitches, 2 1/3, 1 hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Again, a double play gets him out of the inning. Steeb's pitch struck him out. Pettis swung on and missed a 1-2 fastball, 2 out. And that'll bring up Carew, who was 0 for 1. In Game 1, Steeb danced around these situations. In Game 4, he did not. Pitch to Carew, runners off, ground ball to Upshaw. Willie takes it to the bag himself, and the Angels get nothing. They'll leave 2 on, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the third. There is no score. So Oliver, Fernandez, Pettis must have something there, John, and Garcia to face Witt here in the third. So the Jays' defense holds the first time they are challenged here in Game 7. Oliver, 6 for 19, 2 homers and 4 RBI. He has scored 4 times. Witt starts the third. Chopper to short. Schofield, long throw to first. And Oliver is on. An error. Carew made the grab, but Schofield took him off the bag. And Oliver is on with the error. The traffic from Mississauga was frightful, and the 401 wasn't much better. And so Todd B. finds his catbird seat in one of the suites late. No score, bottom of the third inning. The winner awaits Game 7 tomorrow between the Dodgers and Cardinals. Tony Fernandez, 7 for 22 on the series, 4 doubles, and 2 RBI. He has scored 5 times. Pitch to Tony. Liner into right field, and that'll drop in front of Benitez. Oliver really should be staying put. He does. And for the first time, the Blue Jays have a runner in scoring position. Top of the lineup now, Garcia. So it's opening 9, 2+ innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 35 pitches. Garcia is 0 for 1. Witt from the stretch. Liner foul. Third base side. And someone who crossed the Guardian Bridge made that catch. So the count is 0-2 to Garcia. Nobody out. here in the bottom of the third inning. It's chilly, 57 degrees, and the pitchers are allowed to blow on their hands. Pitch to Garcia. There's a high fly ball to left. Back goes Downing, but that'll stay in the yard. Oliver goes back. Downing does not have a great arm. Oliver takes third. And so there's one out. And a runner on third, Oliver for Mosby. Lloyd is 0 for 1. So runners on the corners and one out. Midlife crisis re-subbing again. 20 months. Wow. That's a long time. Yeah, Oliver doesn't need to have great legs. Just don't get doubled off. So Witt and Steeb finding trouble for the first time as he goes the second time through. Remember, Witt is on regular rest. Steeb is on 3 days rest. Pitch to Mosby. Popped up. Carew calls for it. 2 out. For George Bell, who singled his first time up. So, nervous time for everybody. Pitch to Bell. And there's a pitch out. No one's going. So the count is 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, I have no idea who I would do the series MVP. Could be Hanky if they need to get 6 outs. Pitch to Bell. There's a liner up the middle, and the Blue Jays lead Game 7. Oliver will score. Pettis will pick it up. Fernandez is going to race to third. He's going to run on Gary's arm. The throw is cut off by Schofield, and again it's runners on the corners, and here is Willie Upshaw, who struck out his first time up. So the Jays strike first. It's 1-0. If you want to think ahead to MVP, for the Angels, I would think Donnie Moore. He needed to get 8 outs last night to force Game 7. Yeah, Upshaw now is the leading hitter for both teams. He struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. And Witt, yeah, Bobby Cox, well, you got to get there first. Pitch to Upshaw. There's a line drive to Gritch, and that's all the Jays are going to get. But it's 1 is better than none. 2 hits and an error. They leave on 2. We go to the 4th here in Toronto. 1-0 Blue Jays. So here's Downing. He is 0 for 1. Dennis Lamp can't go. Lavelle hasn't pitched. You really wouldn't want to use Jimmy Key, but he would be next up. Tom Filer hasn't started. And then you got Hanky, Caudill, and Acker with the lead. And I think Hanky, you really want to go in there with about 5 outs. So here's Downing. He's 0 for 1. Steeb starts the 4th with a fly ball left center field. Mosby makes the catch. 1 out. And no one's expecting Witt or Steeb to go the distance here. Here's Reggie. He struck out his first time up. Got him again. An 0-2 changeup on the inside corner. And Steeb looks just as good as he did in Game 1. He struck out 8 that night to start the series. Here's DeCinces. He is 0 for 1. Fly ball shallow left field. Bell rides the Schwinn, makes the catch, and that will retire the side. You can't do much better than what Mr. Steeb has done through 4. No runs, no hits, no errors. Bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Toronto. So Barfield, Witt, and Ord. Jesse is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. I think one of the bigger surprises for me is just how poorly Barfield has done at the plate. Witt starts the fourth. Ground ball up the middle. Schofield will snag it. Throws to Carew, and he is out. So here comes Witt. He struck out his first time up. Line drive left field. Downing in the corner. 2 out. Reggie needs to channel 77 and 78. He's done quite well. He's drawn the walks he's needed to do. Here's Orr. Garth is 0 for 1. Ground ball, base hit, left side. So there are some in the Toronto press who wondered why it was Orr over Mullenix. Well, that's why. He's hitting .364 now. So here's Oliver. He scored in the third. He reached on the air. Witt is not giving up an earned run. 2 out here in the bottom of the fourth of Game 7. Pitch to Al. High fly ball. Right center field. Back goes Beniquez. It's gone. And the Jays lead it 3-0. You're looking for your hero, Canada? It may be Al Oliver. His third home run of the ALCS gives the Blue Jays a 3-run lead. Beniquez just ran out of real estate. The kids are fighting for that ball on the football field. And Toronto has remembered how to score runs. So here's Fernandez. He singled his first time up. Yep. Todd B says, big game, big talent, big ego. And now Reggie needs to come through. Witt, that's the first home run he's allowed in this ALCS. He gave up 22 on the real 85. Pitch to Tony. Fly ball right field. Beniquez coming in will make the catch to retire the side. But they spot the Cy Young Award winner 2 more on the 2-run homer by Al Oliver. We go to the 5th. 3-0 Jays. So Gritch, Beniquez, and Schofield struck him out. An 0-2 fastball, and Steeb looks to be in the zone. Here's Beniquez. He has the lone hit of the ball game for California. Ground ball, Garcia behind the bag, over to Upshaw, 2 out. And now here's Schofield, who is 0 for 1. Steeb winds and deals. He draws the walk, and now the tying run is Boone, who walked his first time up. So Steeb can get the win if he can get one more out, or eligible for the win anyway. Schofield on first. They throw to first, and Dick is back. So Steeb delivers to Boone, and Bob hits a ground ball to Garcia. Damaso throws to first, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, a runner left on. The Blue Jays are halfway there as the American League is living on a prayer. 3-0 Jays. Back after this. You join us late. Here's how we got here. The Blue Jays got a single run in the third, a George Bell single to score Al Oliver. And then in the fourth, Al Oliver hit his third home run of the series, and none bigger, a 2-run shot to make it 3-0. Oliver 1 for 2 in this game, a homer, 2 RBI, and 2 runs. Yep, Reggie needs to channel his inner George Hendrick. Pitching-wise, Dave Steeb, a one-hitter through 5. Oh, Todd. Oh, ow. Ow. Oh, I heard on that one. Mike Witt has only given up the 2 earned runs, a 5-hitter through 4, and struck out 3. So Witt starts the 5th. It'll be Garcia, Mosby, and Bell. Todd. Oh, Brad. And Brad with the extra shiv says, I hope Mike Trout can watch this and see what playoffs are all about. And then Brad, being the gentleman that he is, says, Trout grew up an Eagles fan, which is true. Doesn't know a lot about winning. Ouch! Ouch! Anyway, so with 18 batters, 4 innings, 72 pitches, 5 hits, the home run from Oliver, which now looms really large. He hasn't walked anybody, struck out 3. Garcia is 0 for 2. There's a liner in the right. That's going to drop in for a hit. Brad says, what do I know? The Eagles are 3-0. Trout's not a kid anymore. So here's Mosby. Lloyd is 0 for 2. So that's the 6th hit for the Jays. Witt. Liner in the right field. What's Garcia going to do? Benitez will hold on to it, and it's runners on the corners. And so now we're going to flip over into California and check on Witt, because really they can't get any further down, and there's nobody out here in the 5th. So Witt is strong. He wants to stay in. You got Lugo, who pitched last night. You got Clyburn, who probably would go with first. You got Holland if you need a lefty. And if somehow the Angels can come back in this game, you got Donnie Moore. So the Angels are in good shape. Having said that, they need to slam the door here. Bell, 2 for 2 in Game 7. 2 singles and an RBI, his 8th. Runners on the corners, nobody out. California would reluctantly trade 2 for the price of 1 here, just to have the bases empty. Witt deals. Bell swings into right field. That'll be it for Witt. Garcia will score. Benitez picks it up. Mosby running right around second. Is he going to try and score? Yes, he will. The throw is going to go into third as Bell is trying for 3. The throw to DeCinces is close, but no cigar. It's 5-0 Toronto. And there is Bedlam at Exhibition Stadium. That'll do it for Witt. They've chased the ace. Al Holland will face the lefty. Holland, 33 years old. Fly ball plus pitcher. Fastball at 87. He pitched 1 inning in the Game 1 rout and pitched 2 crucial innings in Game 5. Backing up John Candelaria. So overall 3 innings, 2 walks and a strikeout. He threw 20 pitches to get the 6 outs in Game 5. A trip to the World Series might be what the Jays need to convince the city to build them a new stadium. So runner on third, you're not going to pull Upshaw at this point. But the Jays hope they have broken this one open. Oops. Pitch to Upshaw. Got him. So 1 out. Runner on third is Bell. Barfield is struck out. He's 0 for 2. Holland tough on righties as well. Barfield right back up the box. This was a situation that they were in California. Bell on third with a triple and couldn't score. Here's Witt, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And he draws the walk. So runners on the corners and 2 out for Org, who is 1 for 2. He has singled and scored. 5-0 Jays here in the 5th. Org into right center. They are not going to add to the lead, more to the lead, but they chase Mike Witt and score 2 on the big bases clearing triple by George Bell. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors. We go to the 6th. It is 5-0 Jays. If Dave Steeb can throw a one-hitter, he might be MVP as well. Gary Pettis has struck out twice. Steeb opening 18, 80 pitches, 5 innings, a hit. He has walked 2 while striking out 5. Gary Pettis is 0 for 2. Gary Pettis is going to be 0 for 3. Ground ball to Upshaw, 1 out. So here's Carew, and polite applause here from the Toronto faithful as Rod Carew's Hall of Fame career may be down to the last 11 outs. He is 0 for 2 tonight. He is hitting .348 on the series. Yep, he does like his one-hitters, does Dave Steeb. Absolutely. And depending on what happens in the ALCS, you're not going to get Dave Steeb in Game 1 of the World Series. Jimmy Key and Kirk McCaskill are kind of penciled in depending on who wins this ball game for the Game 1 of the American League. Pitch to Carew. Ground ball to short. Fernandez sucks it up, throws to first, 2 out. No! Oh, yeah. Low throw. Upshaw knocked it down. I thought he was going to beat it out, but Willie shows the first base umpire the ball in the glove. Foot on the bag. 2 out for Downing, who is 0 for 2. Steeb winds and deals. Into left center. Mosby ranges over, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, and no errors. What a gem by Steeb here in Game 7. 5-0 Jays. So Al Oliver will face Al Holland. They don't really have any other lefties to pitch, which is why we're not making subs. Oliver, his 2-run shot in the 4th, was his 3rd home run of the series. He's driven in 6. Holland's pitch, ground ball to Al over to first, 1 out. So here's Tony Fernandez. Tony 1 for 2. 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Toronto. They've left on 5. No runs, a hit, and an error for California. They've left on 3. Fernandez hits a ground ball to second. Gritch in the hole, throws to Carew, and Fernandez is retired. And so the Angels will go to the pen and bring in Stu Clyburn with 2 out in the 6th. That is the right move. Clyburn has a win in this series and under an average of .386. He is 29 years old. They tell me that he plays a mean piano, by the way. Fastball at 86 and a ground ball plus pitcher. He went in game 2 in Toronto and allowed 2 runs in game 2 and pitched 2/3 of an inning in game 4 and got the win. 2/3 of an inning, 21 pitches. So overall, Clyburn 2 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned. That home run came in game 2. He walked 2 and struck out 1. Garcia 1 for 3 tonight, 10 for 29 on the series. Clyburn starts his outing. High ground ball to Carew. Rod will take it to the bag himself, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. Dave Steeb coming out for the 7th. He's thrown a 1-hitter. 5-0 Jays. So here's Reggie. Reggie has struck out twice. Steeb winds and deals. Ground ball to Upshaw. 1 out. So here's DeCinces. He is 0 for 2. Base hit left field. Bell will pick it up. He'll throw it in. And that'll bring up Gritch, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. DeCinces, only the 2nd hit for California here in Game 7. Absolutely no threat to steal. He walked him. 3rd walk. So we'll see what he does with Beniquez, who's 1 for 2. 1st and 2nd, 1 out. Steeb, that pitch count coming in. Beniquez has a single. Ground ball to Fernandez, might be 2. Garcia for 1, turns, pivots, throws, Upshaw's there. They turn it. They get 2. Stretch time, 5-0 Jays. So Mosby 1 for 3. Lloyd has a run scored and a single. In 1985, the beer of choice for the Toronto Blue Jays would be Labatt 50. But whether it's Molson Export, Molson Canadian, Labatt Blue, Moosehead, whatever it is, the 4x6s are going to be flowing in Ontario tonight if the Blue Jays can hang on. All right, so tomorrow, Dodgers-Cardinals, the winner faces the winner here. Mosby 1 for 3. Up the middle, a base hit. So here's Bell. He has 3 RBI in this game. He is 3 for 3. He has singled twice and tripled. And I suppose he would, I don't know, Brad, Bell with his 10 RBI or Oliver with his 3 home runs. Clyburn deals. Bell, ground ball to short. Schofield might get 2 out of this. No, only play is to first, and this is going to be close. Carew is there. And Mosby goes to second, 1 out for Upshaw, who is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. Schofield, maybe. Boone and Pettis, maybe. In the 8th for California. Pitch to Upshaw. Got him. So here's Barfield, 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Mosby on second, 2 out, bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Toronto. There goes Mosby. Ground ball to Gritch. Bobby throws to first, and that will retire the side. We go to the 8th. It's the Blue Jays 5, the Angels nothing. So Steeb, again, he has done his job. Schofield has walked. He's 0 for 1. He will not be pinch hit for. He hits a little number to Upshaw. Willie goes to the bag, and that's one out. And now Tom Henke starts to loosen for Toronto. That may be the most important part of this. They don't need to go with anybody else. The next pitcher in this game is going to be Tom Henke. Bob Boone has walked. He's 0 for 1. Ground ball to Garcia, rather. Steeb covers, 2 out. And I'm not going to let Gary Pettis hit. What a bad series for Gary. And so who can hit a righty? Craig Gerber. That tells you just how things have gone. Gerber 0 for 3 on the series with an RBI and a run scored. "27 batters deep for Steeb, 7 2/3 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 122 pitches. And now we invite you who are watching to submit your ballot for the ALCS MVP. Dave Steeb is a pretty good candidate. George Bell, a pretty good candidate. Al Oliver, a pretty good candidate. Steeb winds and deals, and Gerber hits a base hit up the middle. And that'll bring up Carew, who gets a standing ovation. He is 0 for 3 tonight, and with a .204 batting average in the outcome box, Steeb will face him. But this is the last batter for Dave Steeb tonight. Angels left too much on the table back in Game 6. Lackluster performance. So everyone's up. 2 out. Top of the 8th. 5-0 Jays. Steeb delivers. Carew to Steeb. Dave goes to first. And that's the inning. So the Angels get a hit and leave them on. No runs. 1 hit. And no errors. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 5-0 Toronto. And so it'll be Witt, Oregon, Oliver. Ernie is 0 for 2. He is walked and struck out. Up the middle, Gritch. Over to first, 1 out. Jones is in the game in center. He's a 6 and a 9. So here's Ord. Party on, Garth. 1 for 3. He has singled and scored. Clyburn deals. Popped up, right side. Gritch. 2 out. So here's Al Oliver. He is 1 for 3. He hit the big home run in the 4th to make it 3-0. Clyburn winds and deals. Oliver to short. Schofield over to first. And there's 3 outs left. Steeb says, I want to finish it. To Scoops. It is Tom Henke, who has a save in this series. He went an inning and 2/3 and allowed a hit. Terminator, 28 years old. Oliver. Yeah, Oliver. That was a big home run. So 1 vote for Oliver. Fastball at 95, a ground ball pitcher. He got the save in game 2 and then closed out game 4. So he hasn't pitched in a while. An inning and 2/3, a hit and 2 strikeouts. He is 3 outs away from the World Series, and if Henke should get in trouble, you got the entire world ready to back him up. Downing is 0 for 3. There are Royal Canadian Mounted Police ringing the warning track here. It is 50 degrees and cold. But in about 2 minutes, nobody is going to care. Henke starts the 9th with a pop-up, left side, Fernandez, 1 out. There has never been a World Series game played north of the border. Not in 1985 there hadn't been. Here's Reggie Jackson. He is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice. Brad, you got to vote for the MVP? Pitch to Reggie. Ground ball, base hit right side. Barfield will pick it up. So 1 out for DeCinces, who was 1 for 3. Henke delivers. Popped up. Fernandez. That's a rainmaker. Tony gets a glove on it. 2 out. And so next Tuesday, unless something absolutely out of whatever happens, the World Series is going to start in Toronto. Grich has walked and struck out. He is 0 for 2. Henke delivers. Struck him out! The Toronto Blue Jays have won the American League Championship. The Jays, who steamrolled through the first 3 games, celebrate on the mound. Witt and Henke in a major embrace. Al Oliver, who has been named the American League Championship Series MVP, is going to get another series. The ratings fix was in. The Jays have shut it out. Toronto holds on to win 5-0. 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. They left on 6. California, no runs, 4 hits, and error, and they left on 6. What a performance for Dave Steeb. A 3-hitter through 8. He walked 3 and struck out 5. Mike Witt just did not have it, despite being on full rest. So, Brad, who would you vote for? There's 1 vote for Oliver. Tom Henke, he allowed a hit, got a strikeout. He's going to the World Series. Holland and Clyburn pitched so well out of the pen. So a fantastic series ends with the Toronto Blue Jays going to the World Series. And we've been told that Jimmy Key, regardless of whether it's St. Louis or Los Angeles, will be the Game 1 starter here in Toronto. Now remember, there is no DH in 85 in the World Series. So it'll be the last time ever that an American League game will not have a DH. Brad votes for Steeb. They really needed that kind of an effort. I'm going to vote for Steeb. And for Rod Carew, who's sitting in the California dugout, what a career. What an absolute career. But for the Toronto Blue Jays, you've longed to see this. They are, I made this last week, the 1985 American League champions. And they will host whoever they get, the Dodgers or the Cardinals, next Tuesday night, Game 1 of the World Series. I took down that slide. I had that slide ready for 4 days. So Game 1 next Tuesday, the 1985 pennant goes to Toronto. They have won the American League. They won 99 games. They beat dispatched the Yankees with ease, and they made history. They got forced to a deciding Game 7 and won it. And so join us tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, to find out who the Toronto Blue Jays are going to play in the World Series. But for one night, and one night only, the Blue Jays are the champions. They did what they could not do in real life. They are the 1985 American League pennant winners. And for all of us at Retro Sports Network, I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for watching. Let's hope Game 7 tomorrow is just as entertaining. Noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, John. And no George Brett, who's getting his preparation H checks. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. And so long from Toronto.